Hey guys, it's Ken. So I get lots of information from a lot of you guys. What do you guys think of Graham Stephan? What do you guys think of Meet Kevin? They have different information on when the housing's gonna bust. As you know, I know it's super confusing, guys, and we're all trying to figure this out. But the one thing that I want to talk to you guys today about is primarily inventory, and really what I want you to do is follow the math. So I just got done watching Graham's video, which I really liked. He goes into a lot of detail on housing inventory and prices and rents and all those kinds of things. But what I'm trying to do here is actually bring it down to math so we can follow it logically and make some assumptions just for you, so stay tuned. And hey guys, as you know, there's a ton of information in this video. You don't need to write anything down. We're gonna have it below. You just click the link and you can go to the show notes and have all this stuff. So the number one question is what do I think is gonna happen in 2021? So let me just jump right in, guys. As you guys know, the inventory is at an all-time low. And if you want to track this month to month, I recommend that you go to the Federal Reserve in St. Louis and just type that in, and you can get an idea of like the active listing counts in the United States. As you guys can see, they've been down, and we're obviously an all-time low. And then another one that I really want you guys to take a look at is this housing inventory. Right now, these are new listing counts in the United States. As you can see, they've actually gone up from December. This is a very important point. I'm going to come back to this later. But you can see here the new listing count in the United States actually went up from December to January. That's actually boding well. So what this really means is as that inventory comes back on the market, that prices will then stabilize. So let's take a look at the existing inventory right now. What we can see here from the Federal Reserve is that the housing inventory right now in December was right around 1 million houses. And as you can see, guys, this is 1.4. It's bounced around from March, April, May, June. So it spiked somewhere about in here right after the pandemic started. And it obviously just started to go down. Right now, we're basically at 1,070,000. So the real question is, what's a normal market? Because that's the first thing you got to solve to. What do people think a normal market is when prices are not going up like crazy and there's not too much inventory? So that's what we're going to solve to next. So what I decided to do was just jump over to the National Association of Realtors and see what do they consider to be a balanced market. And what the National Association of Realtors says is that a 6-month supply is associated with moderate price appreciation. So basically, the National Association of Realtors is saying 6 months supply is about right. Not too much inventory and not too much sales, so that prices generally go up, but they don't necessarily go down, or they don't go up too quickly. So we're going to put in here that the balanced market is about 6 months. This is going to be very important for you guys to come back to later. A balanced market, according to the National Association of Realtors, is 6 months of inventory. Now here's where it really starts getting interesting. So we know that the National Association of Realtors says that 6 months inventory is a balanced market. So now we got to take a look at the month supply. So we knew that in December of 2019, in this period of time, there were 3 months of supply. And right now in December of 2020, just 1 year later, there's 1.9 months of supply. So basically, supply has gone from 3 months to about 2 months in 1 year. So when they had 3 months of supply in December of 2019, they were saying that that was 1,390,000 listings. What we already talked about is that the supply is sitting around 2 months, is 1,070,000 listings. So the difference between December of 2019 to December of 2020 is right around 300,000. So as you guys can see, this is about 2 months and this is about 3 months. So you can reasonably say that about 300,000 listings equals about 1 month's supply. 3 minus 2, 1,390,000 minus 1,070,000. So I know it's not exact math, but it's pretty darn close. So here's where it gets a little confusing. So we know that right now we got 1,070,000 of homes that are listed. And according to the National Association of Realtors, it's about 2 months worth of inventory. So we'll say 2 months equals 1 million of inventory or listings right now. That's 2 months of inventory per their data. But here's where the twist comes in. If you take a look at where they were in December of 2019, the 1,390,000 minus the 1,170,000, so we can conclude that a 300 house inventory decline, so we'll go 300K inventory decline equals 1 month inventory based on the 3 all the way to 2. So the real question then is, how many homes is it going to take for us to get to 6 months? And all you need to do is take the 6 months minus the 2 months equals 4 months of inventory, times it times the 300,000, or 1.2 million. We need 1.2 million houses in order to get the inventory back to balance. So it'd be 1.21 million, which is about 2.2 million, is about 6 months of inventory. So we'll put that right here. 2.2 million is about 6 months of inventory. So now let's take those inventory numbers and see where we're going to go next. We know that we're at basically 1 million houses, and we know that the 6 month number is about 2.2. So what I decided to do was dig in a little deeper on some of these forbearance issues and some of these issues on who's seriously delinquent, because I personally think that's going to be a big issue in 2021. So let's first go back to forbearance. And what we know is that we have 600,000 people in 3 of 2021 coming to the end of their forbearance. And we know that there's another 400 in April. So basically, in about a 2 month period, we have 1 million people that are going to have to deal with their forbearance. So where is all this heading? So we need to go to the data once more. So in Black Knight, which hopefully a lot of you guys are following, this is very, very, very interesting, and it's down in the fine print. But basically, they're saying that they've got 3,557,000 people that are now over 30 days delinquent on their mortgages. That's a big number. So we're going to put that right here. That's 3,557,000 people that are in some kind of forbearance, at least 30 days or delinquent. And we also know that we have at least 2.2 million seriously delinquent according to Black Knight, and we're going to put that 2.2 million right here. So we have 3.57 million people that are 30 days delinquent, and we have 2.2 million people that are over 90 days delinquent or considered seriously delinquent. We know that 600,000 of those are going to come due in basically just a little bit over a month, and then the other 400,000 plus or minus are actually going to come due right after that. So the real question, guys, is when we're only looking at forbearance, just forbearance, how many defaults? And the reason defaults are low is because the president's making them low. The CARES Act's making them low. The stimulus packages and everything are kicking these things down the road. The real question is, how many of these folks are going to list their homes or go into foreclosure? That's actually what you should be asking yourself. So we know that we have at least 2.2 million people seriously delinquent. My belief is that these people, they're probably not going to be able to come up with the money to fix their problems unless the lender allows that. So if we just split this number by half, let's say that 50% of these people cannot pay. Now we're looking at 1.75 million. Now, is this a guess? Of course it's a guess. But you can't tell me that a lot of these people are not going to sell their homes. A lot of these people are not going to lose their homes. And I'm only using 50%. So let's just take this number forward. We know that 6 months equals 2.2 million balanced housing units. We know that right now we have 1 million which equals 2 months of supply. So if we add the inventory of about 1.75 million people to the 1 million that we have already, we're now at 2.75 to 3 million of inventory. So this number is going to go way up, way past the 6 months of balanced housing, which is 2.2. So my prediction is by the end of this year and into next year, we're going to have at least this many defaults, and it's going to add to the inventory, which is currently at about 1 million houses. So for those of you that are upset, just be upset at the numbers. The numbers are what they are. There's 3.5 million people that are delinquent. There's 2.2 million people that are seriously delinquent, and I'm only using 1.75 million as my estimate. So now let's take a look at where we're all heading with all of this. I already went through the forbearance, but this is what I think is going to happen to inventory. And this is where you guys need to be watching this year. And it's going to be different from market to market. In other words, Florida is going to be drastically different than New York, which is going to be drastically different than California. So this is all a local issue, a submarket issue, and you can drill down and find all the specific information in your individual market if you like. But forbearance is definitely going to grow the inventory. There's no way around it. The government can't keep kicking the can down the road on this issue. This is real money that people owe, and at some point, just like in 2008, they're going to have to pay it or default. Interest rates should probably stay low, and you're going to see a rash of refinances just like you saw in 2020. But the interest rates are going to actually help inventory keep it down. Not that we want it down, because that's why prices are up. But people are basically home. They're refinancing their houses with lower rates. They're lowering their payments. They're getting some cash out. They're even doing renovations. So I predict that interest rates are going to stay low, and that it's going to actually help keep inventory low. The work from home is also going to keep people in their houses and keep inventory low. I think we saw a lot of migration already in 2020. We'll probably see some more, but for now, I think that it's probably only going to contribute to people staying home and working from home as opposed to going to the office. The unemployment is still an issue, and a lot of people aren't talking about this. This is way up there, well over 10 million people. The economy still is not on track. Unemployment is definitely tracking the wrong way. Some of these people could be up here in the forbearance, obviously. I predict that unemployment is going to continue, even though people like Janet Yellen believe that it's going to be all back to normal very soon. I completely disagree. I don't see how. We have interest rates at the lowest they've ever been, and businesses are absolutely hurting. There are businesses that are doing just fine, but the majority of businesses are not doing that well, and they're struggling. They're cutting back on their people. They're cutting back on making them part-time. They're using AI. They're using technology. All those things are happening right now. And I think what's going to happen is people are going to either list their houses or potentially fall into this category up here. The renters, we haven't really talked about renters. There's millions and millions and millions of people, and the government's going to kick that can down the road again. But I believe that a lot of those people are in occupied houses, so they might even be up here in this particular category. But this renter issue is going to be a real mess next year. Again, we're going to have to pop the lid off, and I believe that that's going to be an issue next year as well, possibly even 2022. And then the last thing that not a lot of people are talking about is the new supply. We all know that we need it. You can't have prices go up like this. When prices go up that high, what it does is actually helps the builder, because now they can build homes even though they're more expensive, but so are the prices that people are paying. So when the margins go up, you're going to start to see these inventory numbers go up. Right now, they're projected to deliver about somewhere between 800,000 and 900,000 new housing units in 2021. That's definitely going to increase the inventory. So we only talked about the inventory on forbearance, which I projected to be 1.7. We know that this is going to be about 800,000. We don't know exactly what's going to happen with the renters on the unemployment. and we're not sure what's going to happen in these categories. But between this category and this category, I can assure you we're going to have a lot more inventory next year, and you're going to start to see all kinds of things change in all the individual markets and the submarkets. So in summary, I already talked to you guys. I believe that we're going to have at least a 2 million increase in inventory sometime in late fourth quarter 2021. That's when I believe that I'll start to see these prices drop. Once all this inventory starts to creep up and hit the market, you'll see the days on the market longer, you'll see the prices longer, which is unfortunately going to make people list more homes. So once we start to click this over, let's say about summertime, my estimation is people are going to try to stack on by listing their houses, and what's going to happen is this inventory is going to grow even more, and then you start to throw on the new builds, and all of a sudden your inventory is significantly higher in the fourth quarter of this year. And then 2022, I think you're going to start to see most of this stuff unravel. Also, what I'm projecting is rentals are going to be flat in 2021, but they're going to be increased in 2022, because just like in 2008, when we went through this already, and I personally went through this, when people are falling out of their houses here, then they default back into rentals. It's going to push pressure back on those rentals. So it's going to be a fine balance between where they move, what the prices are, what the rents are going to be, and how much supply and how much demand there's going to be in those particular areas, those submarkets, those cities, those counties, those states, etc. So as you guys move forward, pay very close attention to what's happening on the forbearance and the inventory levels in your particular state, in your particular city. So lastly, what can throw all of this sideways, as already has happened through the year? It's the Wizard of Oz, Biden. What will Biden do? Will he throw more money at forbearance? Will he kick the can down the road on that issue? If he does, obviously these numbers are not going to be what they are. Is he going to throw more money at the renter community? If he does, obviously we're not going to have as much disruption in those particular areas. One thing is for sure, all this is going to cost a lot of money. The latest stimulus package is right around $2 trillion. And I can tell you for sure that we're probably going to have some inflation. So if you guys haven't watched that inflation video, my suggestion is you go over and take a look at that, because you can't dump that much money onto an economy. I'm not saying we don't need it, because these people need it, 100%. But you can't dump that kind of money on an economy and expect the dollar to be strong over the long term with all that extra money chasing all those goods. So again, thank you guys. Thanks for watching. If you like this, just hit the like button and the subscribe button and send this to your friends. It takes a lot of work to put these together. As always, I appreciate you all. Thank you.